Time to get serious with Mega March.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Mega March. My name is Coleman X, and I'm joined with...
Twitch from REVO.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
So, today in our ongoing month-long expedition of exploring all of X's designs.
Why do you gotta say it like that, man?
Just exploring, that really kind of gets you in a
We're
mood.
exploring his body.
Hubba hubba. We really are. Today, we're doing Rockman Online and Command Mission. So
That's right.
let's just jump straight in with Rockman Online. Look at this vanilla boy. There's not too much different.
Yeah, we just had a couple of notes because we're coming off the heels of the Vanilla X design from the previous episode. And we wanted to talk about the rendition of X from Rockman Online. Now, you might notice this isn't like the upgraded X, like he's got like armor and stuff, which we'll get to eventually. And I know that they redesigned a lot of the classic characters for some reason, but X mostly stays the same. The only thing, as a matter of fact, I think all of the X characters stay the same, except for the classics, which were all redesigned for some reason. But what's interesting about this one, the thing that sticks out the most to me, is that X he doesn't have squishy black thingies that connects his, like, elbows to his arm. He's got these, like, black ball things that have, like, little jagged gear teeth in them.
He's a model kit.
Yeah, and that's also true for his knees as well. I don't know why they decided to go with that, but that's what they decided to go with.
You know, one thing that I never noticed about this design, it came up right before we started recording. But if you look at the back of X, specifically his helmet and his back chest armor, I guess. I'm not really sure what to call that.
His back
but
boobs.
The back boob, right. So, they both take a page out of X8, because with X8, the eyebrow thing on the helmet wraps all the way around. And it does here, and then also the back boobs is just like a backpack.
Yep.
But the rest of it's regular X, you know, he's chunky boy.
Yeah, for X8, I believe it goes almost completely straight around the back. Like just one flat, rectangle, I guess, if you were looking at it head-on. And this one, even though it wraps around the back, it kind of dips down in the middle and connects. So it makes like a little blue triangle of sorts on his back. And that's what it does. I personally would have added like a flat bit in there so that like it kind of mirrors the front a little better, and the bottom in the back could have just been, flat or whatever. But yeah, that's almost the entirety of everything they changed for this design. The only other detail I've noticed is that starting in X4, it's always been there, but X4, like I said in the last episode, they really started to like nail down these features. His ankles are supposed to be flat at the bottom, so like they angle down and then there's like a flat bit. But these come to like a point for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why it does that. It's never, there's no like practical or impractical reason. I can't see like, developers have said anything on it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know why they did that, but whatever. It's overall a good design. I also noticed that in general, in some of the artwork, his feet are like way like less tall. The feet are like squished. I don't know if I like it, but that's what they decided to go with. And I also don't know if I like the fact that if you look at the heel, the back of the leg comes down really far, which I think might be a problem, which is also a problem, I think, with just flattening the feet in general. You could probably fudge it a little bit with, like, artwork and things, but if X were to, let's say, like, point his toe or something like that, his heel is going to, like, recede up into his calf.
Oh, yeah, it is.
As opposed to, as impractical as Mega Man designs are, if you look at, like, older I mean, that was true even with like X1 and X2 artwork. They really loved to kind of like make the feet connect at like the back of the heel. But then later designs kind of moved the foot back a little bit so that it's really connecting more like on top. So that if you point the foot, the heel doesn't like go up into the armor. The pivot point is shifted a little bit. So that's really my only problem, is just the heels down there a little bit. Other than that, yeah, it's just neat. This is just a neat little, alternative take on X's design.
Yeah, I just really like just adding a little bit from X8. Like, that's just something I never noticed. But when we're going alternative, this armor or whatever it is, I've gone on record and saying I'm not the biggest fan of this, because it's really busy and awkward.
Oh boy.
But I mean, I've seen worse. You showed me what it looks like in game, which I think it looks a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's got a white X in the middle. He's got pointy shoulders. He's got a cool little V on his head. There's just a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the artwork, which I think is a similar but different armor.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's worse only because while I do like the white fins, whatever those things are, they kind of remind me of the ones on like the X1 helmet.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like the armor in the art doesn't really know what it wants to do, and I feel like the armor in game has a much better design balance. It doesn't look as like crazy and nonsensical. Like all the lines, like the fins on the artwork one, they almost look like clock handles, or clock hands, excuse me. And like they're pointed outwards, but then the one in game, they're pointed inwards and kind of like grab the gem on his forehead.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense logically to me. But yeah, I mean, for both of them, it's a little busy.
The shoes are black on the game, but that's kind of neat. But you know what? If you look at what looks like Airman standing next to him,
I think that's Duo, actually.
Oh, that makes sense. Maybe just the X on the chest is just a motif, because I think that game was about clones of X, Zero, Base, Proto Man, Duo, Mega Man. You know, like, so it would explain why there are so many characters running around like that. So maybe this was just one of several armors you could get. But this is my first time seeing the Buster. Not bad.
Yeah, I've actually never seen the Buster in anything other than screenshots. And I do like the way it looks, so like I'm down with that. I do like the way that looks. Here's a clear picture of the armors for X, Zero, and Duo, which, by the way, Zero gets armor, which I think that's pretty sick. The armor for Zero, it looks much better than the armor on X, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I like how you can tell that they're following the same design concept, at least, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it happens to be, they all seem to be following it. And if you notice, their joints are now all those weird ball joint things with like the gear teeth in them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a thing that they're following now. Looking at Duo though, like that version of Duo versus whatever that thing is up in that screenshot. Yeah, I don't know what that is, actually. Is that Duo? It looks like it's supposed to be, kinda.
I'm gonna stay in Camp Duo.
Yeah, I'm also... I mean, here's a picture of Vanilla Duo. I mean, then again, there were also multiple armors for everyone in this game, so maybe that's just one version of armor.
Most likely.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, whatever, man.
It's Rockman Online. At this point, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, at this point, it's whatever you want it to be.
Yeah. But, speaking of stuff that didn't make it, we got, Command Mission, the beta design first, which is a very manly Vanilla X. Like, look at this guy. The only real differences I could find were he has a yellow outline on his titties. He's got the weird segmented fingers with the knuckles. The knuckle caps, yeah. And he's got really, really tubey legs.
Yes, this is an absolute unit of X. He's very manly. Everyone in Command Mission actually gets very broad, chunky proportions. They don't look fat, they just look built. Like, if you look at Zero in most games, he's like pretty normal, and then like you look at his chest, and it's just so wide.
Oh yeah.
And then same thing for X. He gets the same kind of thing. X is even more scrawny looking usually. And then in Command Mission, they jacked him up, and he's just huge.
It's the American toy version.
Yes.
Mega Man X.
If you want like a yeah, exactly. If Ruby Spears made a video game, this is the version of X they would. You know, if Capcom was forcing them to stop, you know, making him so handsome and giving him a six-pack, they'd be like, all right, fine.
Remember that episode of Akiba Ranger with the Powerful Rangers?
Yes, the Powerful Rangers.
That's exactly this.
We're gonna have to go edit like an American flag belt and like neck thing on him.
Instead of the scarf, it's a...
Yeah, exactly. Instead of a scarf, it's an American flag that just is constantly emitting out of his vents or whatever on his back. So yeah, man. This is the beta version of X for Command Mission, which didn't get released. It's still technically in the game. In one of the cutscenes, there's like a screenshot of him on someone's screen, which is kind of interesting.
Oh, really?
It shows you how late in development it was before they swapped out this model for the final. Aside from being overall chunky, like you said, he's got some yellow trim on his chest. I noticed the eyebrows on the helmet. This could just be a problem with like the angle that they're at, but they look very round.
Oh yeah, that is very, very
I don't like
round.
the way they look when they're round. I think they look much better the sharper, more angular they look.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's up with the round eyebrow thing. And he's got just some basic trim around his knees. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, just a little bit of extra detail. Like this fits in a lot more with how Zero and Axel turned out.
Yeah. Exactly. Like a comment from the devs for this game was that they thought X looked too boring next to Zero and Axel, so they wanted to spice him up a bit. And I think this is just the right amount of spice. And I think the design and this is just my personal opinion, I'm not attacking it, it is a cool design. But I think the final version of X in Command Mission is like you're trying to add a little bit of salt to your food and then the cap falls off. You know, that's kind of what it reminds me of. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just kind of like the subtlety. I like his feet. He's got these little black trim around the feet. I think that's neat. He's got some ankle joints, which, again, I don't really like X with ankle joints, but I guess it does break up the design a little bit more. Yeah, that's it. Again, not too much to say. It's pretty vanilla design. It hasn't changed that much. You know, I guess his helmet crest is really tall, and I don't like that either.
He's tired of feeling short.
Yeah, he wanted to feel taller around Zero, so he just like stretched his helmet crest.
Right, that's like when short people would spike up their hair, so they feel a little bit taller.
Just a little taller. Like, I don't know, man. The crest is just way too tall. It's like an extra like 3 inches right there, just to make that thing taller. And I know I'm saying like a lot of negatives, and I don't mean to sound like I'm negative, because I actually, like I said, do prefer this design over what we eventually got, only because this design is the visual definition of adding more in moderation.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to what we'll eventually see.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything extra to add to that. That's pretty much all I got to say on this one. I just think it looks neat.
Yeah.
The gold is an interesting choice. I don't know why there's gold. Like,
yeah, the brass knuckles is weird, but maybe everybody was gonna have that because Marno has it and X has it.
It's definitely like a Command Mission motif.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, man, I don't know. That's that. Any other final words before we move on to the vanilla Command Mission?
This looks like X if he if he has really low self-esteem. You know, it's like the guys that drive the huge trucks and you know, all that.
So he's
overcompensating.
He's overcompensating.
Overcompensating. But no, I think it's fine. I like the little extra details. But we get a lot of extra details with the final design that they went with.
Yep.
And I always thought it was like cool as a, like, if it was an armor, you know.
I thought it was. I was like, whoa, the game lets you start off with like upgraded armor. And then no, that's just what you look like for the entire game.
I really like the scarf. Like, I've become a big fan of scarves.
Yeah.
In the past few years, and
I don't think you'll find anyone who complains about the scarf. Scarves are always cool. Flowing objects on your character are always badass, and if you want to give X a beam scarf, I say go for it.
Yeah, and you can change the color, so...
That was my favorite feature of Command Mission. Just being able to change the color of the scarf. I almost wish that it had more physics to it. It does have physics. Like, if you turn, the scarf will kind of, like, bend a little bit. But because of the weird movement speeds and just the physics of that game, like, you rarely see it. But if you do something that, like, kind of fudges with it, you can kind of get the scarf to bend, and, like, you can see things like that.
Yeah, well, that's kind of how it is in Dive when you use that costume, because you're actually jumping and moving all around in those games, or in that game.
Yeah.
But, let's address stealth armor.
Yes, disclaimer. This armor is not officially called stealth armor in any capacity that we can find. However, both me and Coleman are sharing a hallucination together where we have seen this figure sold by Jazzwares back in like 2007, 2008 whenever they did it, when they were selling toys for the Mega Man X franchise. And the Command Mission armor was just, the name of it was put as stealth armor. And we've looked into this. We actually cannot find any evidence that it was ever called this ever, but we both remember it. If anyone out there has an explanation for us, please let us know. In the meantime, instead of calling it the Command Mission armor, we're just going to call it stealth armor. It's much faster and much easier on the syllables. Yeah,
it's gonna save us in the long run. But you know, one thing that really sticks out with the stealth armor is the like the gold that connects the neck and the shoulder and the elbows and the knees and the soles of the feet. That's kind of neat. I like how that's like a design aesthetic that goes all the way through. Yeah, instead of just the neck, you know, like just the neck and the knees, it wouldn't have looked good. But since they also put on the shoulders, on the elbows, kind of works.
Yeah, it's a nice little design motif that kind of carries through. I'm not complaining about it. I think it's cool. I think it's a bit much, only because the whole armor comes together to be a bit much. Yeah, but that's just me. Like, so for something that is apparently, allegedly, called the stealth armor, X is lit up like a freaking Christmas tree. He has vents and gems and glowy bits all over him. And I think it's because of all of that I think it's just a little bit too much. On the other one, he has some black in place of gold, and I think that works out pretty well. But if you were to replace that with gold, I think the blue and gold would still look really good together. But it's the fact that there's so many other details all over his body that it's kind of like sensory overload for me.
Yeah, like, I kind of get it because, you know, JRPG main character has to have a busy design. That's like a rule. Like, I kind of get where they're coming from, and it doesn't look bad. Like, I think it looks fine. I really like how the back of the helmet also has a light on it, so that makes it visually interesting when he's walking away from the camera.
Yes, and I understand exactly why they would want to do that. Like, a lot of Mega Man characters don't have a lot going on in the back, you know? And I'm not just talking about their booties.
Shake it, bake it, booty quake it.
Yeah, exactly. You know. So I understand the need to give them something interesting to look at from the back. But I just figured the scarf would have filled that role just fine. Like, Or maybe you could have done something with like, I don't know. Yeah, so I understand the need to want to have to give him something interesting going on in the back. I think the thrusters on his back for the emitters for the scarf, those can stay. I think that those are fine. That makes a lot of sense, you know, practically. The green gem on the back of his head, also fine. I understand that. That's totally cool. But it's the fact that he's got gems on his elbows, gems on his knees, gems on the backs of his calves, gems on the backs of his ankles, and also gems on the bottom of his feet, where it's just like it looks like X robbed a jewelry store and just encrusted himself. He's bejeweled X, you know? But I don't know. That's one of my gripes.
What were the equipable gems in Command Mission called?
I think they were just called the Force Medals.
Force Medals, that's it. Maybe those are all of his Force Medal slots.
Oh, like in Final Fantasy VII with like the materia slots?
Yeah, like you can see it on the weapons.
So the thing is, if he could change the if you could actually swap out the Force Medals like materia, and the gems would actually change color based on what you have equipped. Now that would be cool, because now you have an in-universe lore reason, something that's practical, that explains why he's got all these gems all over him, you know?
Right.
And I'd be like, okay, fine. And as a matter of fact, I have the screenshot floating around somewhere, but there's a conversation with Professor Gaudil, the platypus professor guy. And I'm pretty sure he actually has like a throwaway line where he's like, something your body was modified to allow for the usage of Force Medals.
You just see Zero in the background looking normal.
Yeah, and I'm just like, Zero and Axel didn't change and they can use Force Medals, so what the hell gives?
I'll give Axel a pass, since he's a new generation,
yeah, Axel,
whatever.
Fine, new gen, whatever. But X and Zero are both like 100 years old. Well, actually, 200 years old at this point, if you count that Command Mission is in 22XX.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what the hell gives? Why is X done up this way? You know, he almost looks like he's in like a suit, like he's in like a not a tuxedo, but like a uniform. I kind of like that.
It's very military.
I like the military / uniform look. I just don't think that should have been X's default look the whole time.
Yeah, like maybe like that could have been a super mode.
Or like an equipable armor, like you can find armor and put it on your characters.
Yeah, or like
something.
Just halfway through the game you get upgraded. Boom, there you go.
Yeah, just something to explain it. But no, that's just what he's like the whole time. It's never explained. It's never explained why Zero and Axel don't need to do the same thing. And he's just really busy. You mentioned this before, but X does not have his undies on.
Right, he has a utility belt instead.
Yeah, I mean, I like the utility belt, so like that's fine, but X without his undies is strange to me. You know? It really feels like he should have his undies.
Yeah, it's really, really strange. Maybe that's just the style in 22XX, unless your name is Zero.
I guess, unless your name is Zero or Axel.
Get with the times, old mans.
Yeah, honestly. I don't know. It's hard. I'm trying to find... Like, I don't like the fact that X has really defined calves now.
Peanut legs.
He's got the peanut legs. I don't know if I like the fact that he's got peanut legs. In Mega Man Zero, I'll give it a pass, because, like, everyone looks that
does.
way.
Yeah.
But the fact that X is, like, one of the only characters that has this... You know, I know there's going to be someone in the comments, so let me put a disclaimer. Disclaimer, everybody, disclaimer. There are exceptions to this. There are characters in the regular X series that have legs like this. For instance, Sigma from Mega Man X4 has peanut legs. I'm willing to excuse those. They aren't like, you know, it's not like you can't have them or anything like that. It's just that it's strange for X to have them. You know? Like, why would he have these, but none of his additional armors have them either? Like, his ultimate armor form and the crossfire armor, none of them have peanut legs.
I love the term.
So it doesn't match. So like, what's the deal with that? What's going on there? I'm fine with it if you give it to Maruto, because Maruto is like a ninja, so she would have like a much sleeker looking design.
Yes.
So like, I'm fine with that. Like, I get it. Like, I don't know, man. There's just so many things with the command mission design philosophy that just don't line up to me. And it's not like they don't line up anywhere else. They just don't line up with X. You know, like everything else is fine, but X for whatever reason just sits outside of like the typical design philosophy for command mission for like literally no reason. And I'm like, if you're gonna make him change, you have to make everyone else change, and then they don't.
All right, I just figured it out.
What's that?
Reploids are based on X, right?
Yes.
He's a fashion trendsetter. So he's like this. In the sequel, everybody's gonna have a ton of gems, peanut legs, no underwear.
Exactly.
Just
See, now that makes sense. Yeah. X was the first, so he's literally a trendsetter.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. That makes perfect sense.
You know, I really like the Buster. I think it's got just the right amount of detail.
Yeah, the Buster's pretty sick. Like all of these... Here's the thing about command mission that I feel. All of these things in a vacuum are perfect, but all of them combined becomes a mess. You know, it'd be like if you took, like, peanut butter. Man, I love peanut butter. It's great. If you took a cheeseburger, boy, cheeseburgers are freaking awesome. Love those. And then if you took, I don't know, like pistachio ice cream, another one of my favorite flavors of ice cream. That sounds pretty cool. But then you like threw all of it into a blender, it might come out like a mess. Mm. You know what I mean? Like maybe the pistachio and like the peanut butter would be okay, but then you got that cheeseburger in there just kind of gunking up the whole thing. You know what I mean? If you had the cheeseburger and then afterwards you went and had yourself some pistachio ice cream, you might be like, oh, you know what? That's pretty awesome. I like having these things. You know, I like dinner and dessert. That's great. But when you put them all together at the same time, it just becomes a mess to me. I know that's a really stupid analogy. Maybe I'm just hungry after I finished dinner before we started recording. But yeah, that's just how I feel.
Yeah, and then you look back over at your friend and he's just eating a salad. Like, he's the regular looking one, while you're eating cheeseburger, pistachio, peanut butter.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Can we also talk about the helmet's chin guard?
Okay.
What is your take on the fact that they gave X the same chin guard or jaw guard that Zero has? To me, it doesn't feel like X anymore without that.
I think it fits with the, like, transitioning into the chest, because it looks more serious and more like a military thing. Yeah. But now we're separating the peanut butter away from the cheeseburger. Yeah. Like by itself, it's strange, but it works. To me, it works with the rest of the design because it pulls off the whole serious military man look. Like it reminds me of kind of Colonel's chin strap. Like I know it's not exactly the same, but it kind of makes my brain tickle the same way.
Yeah, I can see that. My only one of my issues, I keep saying my only issue with the command mission armor, and then I say like 19 different things. Oh, excuse me, the stealth armor.
Right.
one of the issues I have with the stealth armor is that if you were to cover up X's head and you were to just ignore the fact that he has that chest thingy, nothing else about this design looks like Mega Man X.
Oh no, yeah, he's a background character.
Like, or I mean, could he be a background character? His hair is about as complex as, like, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh hair, so his armor, I should say, is about as complex as, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh hair.
Right.
Like, you know, that's the thing, is like the head and chest give away that this is X, but nothing else about this design philosophy is X. It could be anyone. The shoulders are generic enough, you know.
Maybe they had an idea for another character that would join your party, and they couldn't implement him, and then they moved the design onto X when they decided they needed something a little bit flashier.
I can believe that.
Entirely possible.
It is entirely possible. Yeah, I don't know, man. X looks like he's in a cool military uniform, which I like, but I just don't think it should be his default. This should have been like an upgraded look, or like an unlockable look, or like armor that you pick up throughout the game, or like a hyper mode. Like, you know, maybe like when you activate this hyper mode, X becomes really fast, you know, and like now like
and stealthy.
He can use stealthy. He can use a whole lot of commands during battles because it's a command mission. I don't know, man. I feel like I'm tripping over myself because I have so much to say about this. It's just individually, all of these elements are cool, but when you put them together, it just doesn't feel like X. This is a cool figure. This isn't a cool default design.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
The default is the part that breaks it.
Yeah.
But like on its own as a design, it's all right. But I like it a lot better in artwork than in the command mission in-game art style because I'm really not a fan. You know, we touched on it earlier. Everyone is a barrel, but
everyone's huge.
Yeah, I don't know, and
you know
just the way the faces are drawn.
You know what's just a thing that I do like? Just trying to talk about things that I do like about this armor. I like that if you look at X's forehead gem, his knees and his elbows, they almost make like a 5-point star. That's kind of cool. Like, I'm trying to look at just the red and not any of the rest of the armor, and you can like see that there's like the forehead gem, and then the knees make like a nice triangle. The elbows and the knees make a nice square, and then of course the forehead and the elbows make another nice triangle. And like all together, if you were to have his arms at his side, it could make like a nice 5-point star, which is, I mean, that is nice. Those are some nice lines that can be drawn between different elements of the armor. Like, I don't know, there are things that are nice about it, you know what I mean? This is really random, but I'm just looking at his ankles, the white ankles that he has and the red lights on the side. They just remind me of like the back end of a car.
Yeah.
They just look like bumpers.
Yeah, it makes them more interesting to look at. While he's running away. But, I think there might be too many colors in the design. Like, usually, I don't count black and white, but those are really prominent on this. So it's got 3 shades of blue, yellow, red, green accent, white, black. There's a lot going on. And that might be a problem.
And that's really exemplified in this concept art, where like the glowing parts are literally glowing. So it's like, here's just X gray, like just monotone, just gray, and then here's all the lit up parts in their different color. You've got green, yellow, red, and then green, yellow, red again from like for the legs,
right?
You know,
and beam scarf,
and then of course the big honkin' red scarf. You know, so he's got all of those colors going on, and then like if you actually look at his armor color. It's, like you said, 3 different colors of blue plus white, and then there's gold trim. And maybe it's just me, but, like, the feet... He has, like, high heels now. He's got some heels on him, which I guess are supposed to look like boots. I feel like those could have just been black, or maybe they could have just been, like, a darker shade of blue, or maybe even a lighter shade of blue instead of gold. I don't know, man. It's just one of those things.
I feel like every bit of praise we give it is also being taken away because when it connects with something else, it's like you said, peanut butter cheeseburger pistachio ice cream. It's exactly that.
Yeah, instead of rock paper scissors, that's the new game you guys can try. Like 2 of those things are fine together, but not all 3. And then like that's just what's going on. There's just too much happening together. You know
right.
You know what I'm saying? Individually they're fine, and maybe even 2 of them together are fine, but when you have all 3 of them together, it just throws the whole mixture off.
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks okay for what it is. Like, I've had more than enough time to accept it. I don't hate it.
Yeah, I don't hate it either.
But it looks like a super mode.
Yeah, and this is not bashing anyone who feels this way, but I really don't like it when people say. Like, oh my god, this is the best design for X ever. This should be what he looks like forever going forward. And I'm like, no. You don't understand. I mean, like, everyone's free to their own opinion.
Yeah.
That's fine. But I just think that that's the worst decision they could possibly make.
Oh yeah.
You know, same thing like when people say like, "Oh my God, version KE Mega Man X, he's got so many details, he's so cool. Everyone should just look like the KE design." I'm like, no, it's the same argument. Stop it.
We'll get there.
We'll get to that, but it's just too complicated.
Yeah. So viewers at home, tell us why we're wrong.
Yes.
And
go ahead. We're inviting you.
Why you love this design. But like, I think we've both said it enough. This design is fine.
Yes.
We know that there's a lot of fans of it. But
sure. I love it. I think it's a cool design. It's just not what I want from you know, a default design.
Yeah. But maybe you feel the same or completely the opposite. Let us know, because I feel like this is gonna get people talking.
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely a divisive topic. More so than the version KE discussion that I'm sure we'll have at some point. I think Command Mission is divisive because it's such a cool design, and like you love it, but I definitely feel like, you know, like the two of us, you know, we love it, but you know, there's that little asterisk at the end there.
Right.
You know, but yeah, like if X were like in like you know what this looks like? If X were like accepting an award at like a big gathering and he's like at a podium, I could see him wearing this and then like, you know, saluting like, you know, all the Maverick Hunters or whatever. Like this is like his dress uniform, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe he got sent out on the mission so quick he didn't have time to change.
Yeah. Okay, that's my new headcanon. X was accepting an award for being the nicest boy ever. And then an emergency happened at Giga City, and he just dispatched immediately while still in his dress uniform. And, and that's it.
It's been spoken. It is canon.
It is, yes. There we go. I'm gonna go get my, my Google Translate KG Inafune voice to come back and make it so via word of God canon.
Alright, everybody. Join us next time when we get into the traditional armors for X, and I think it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, it is going to be a good time. We're going to take our first tippy toe into the armors of X. And there's going to be more armors after that, because, man, X sure does have a lot of different categories of armor.
Oh, yeah.
Which one is this? This is all the armors that were in the game, correct?
Yeah, we're gonna work our way through X1 through 8. And more.
And more.
So, be sure to tune in for that.
Yeah. We'll, I guess we'll see you guys then. Again, remember, comment down below. Let us know what you guys think. Agree, disagree, whatever it is. And we'll see you in the next one.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Take care. I just want to take a moment to point out, do you see how fucking jacked X's thighs are?